I'd like to now introduce Mr. Don Geare from Enterprise Connect. Thank you.
Morning, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks, Richard. I'm mindful of Richard's comments earlier to keep the presentation down to 10 minutes. This is a very quick overview of the Enterprise Connect program. We're a federally funded initiative. We're out of the same department as Oz Industry. We've been going for about 5.5 years. Probably about 8,000 clients have come through the program nationally, and again with funding, that's one of our KPIs, and I think we've dished out something like about 50 million nationally. The program came around from various research that was done with small business, and it basically came back and said, look, up to 70% of small business have no external assistance apart from their accountant doing compliance work at the end of the year. Other comments were, we're not afraid of external help, but we don't know what we don't know. We don't know who we can trust. We really don't know what we should be doing. So the program has therefore evolved to try and address these issues of helping people establish a vision, helping identify what are the elephants rather than the rabbits, what are the main impediments moving forward, and then making those connections to people that can help. So the Connect part of Enterprise Connect we take very seriously. The program rolls out in three main ways. So firstly, we have a business review. Now the review is a holistic focus on the business. So like I said, we look at strategic issues. We help try to sort of put a framework around a vision moving forward. And then we look at things like marketing, finance, people, process. We have access to a range of tools, so benchmarking. For example, we could benchmark a fabrication company with other fabricators between $2 and $4 million, between 10 and 20 people. So you can really see how you're doing on a range of issues against your peers. And moving on from the business review, we then have an element of funding. So as long as that ties up with the recommendations we make in the report, then on a matched basis, up to $20,000 is available. I'll come back to the funding shortly. And then moving on from there, we don't want to be seen as an audit or a tick and flick. So we have various programs and workshops where our clients can stay in touch and access help and connections on an ongoing basis. In terms of eligibility, the Commonwealth are looking to help probably larger SMEs. So we basically need you to look like a manufacturer, that's intended to be very, very broad, or suppliers to the resources sector. And more recently, tourism businesses with a turnover of plus 1 million also qualify for our program. Manufacturing or supplying to resources is 1.5 million turnover. And other things like you must have been trading for 3 years, you must be a company, etc., etc. So, like I say, it's not so much the dad and Dave type businesses, ma and pa's. Generally, it's people employing more than 10 people. Now, the application process is very, very simple. One of the other comments that have come back again is that, are you sure this is a government program? The application to come into the program takes you about 10 minutes. It's web-based, and there's a question on there, how long did this take you to fill in? And people put, 10 or 15 minutes or whatever, and I think really 7 minutes of that is looking for your ACN. It really is simple. It's put down your name. They generally get back to you within a couple of days, and that's all email. And then that's when people like myself, business advisors, get in touch with you and then talk about, look, what you're trying to achieve from this review. So some people are sort of, look, we know where we're going. Can we get access to the funds? We'll take you through the review fairly quickly. Other people say, well, yeah, actually, let's spend a bit more time doing the review and you know, can we do some one-on-ones with my key people, etc., etc. So it's a very, very flexible, you know, we could spend 2 days with you, we could spend 2 hours with you. Generally what I do is I get information beforehand, so that I've done quite a lot of industry analysis of your financials and all that sort of stuff. So when I do sit down with companies, it tends to be very, very focused. So whilst this is a free service, we're very, very conscious of the fact that your time isn't free, and we're not giving away free time. So we really try to give you the biggest bang for the buck. At the end of the review, we'll give you a report, and that will contain an action plan of things to do going forward. If you know consultants that can help you, that's fine. You choose those consultants. If you need us to introduce you to people, we can introduce you to consultants. But at the end of the day, if you want to access this funding and use consultants, you choose which consultants you want to use. So we never do that. It's not up to us. How are we doing for time there? That's the business review in a little bit more detail. I've gone over most of those things, strategic planning, etc. One of the things down the bottom there is quite important, that today you're hearing about other government funding that's around. As part of the business review, I've always got my at the back of my head, how can we access other government funding for you guys? So, for example, with those industry programs or IFSP, happy to recommend. There's also a bunch of funding around training and that sort of thing. So we can spend time with you and help you through that and introduce you to people that could access that funding for you. With our funding, the process again is web-based. It's very, very simple. We do need 2 quotes for every service, but that's not nearly as hard as it sounds. There's a few examples, so business planning, coaching, succession planning, anything to do with HR. If you're putting in QA systems, ISO 9001, 4801, systems analysis around computers, any of that stuff is covered on a match basis. It's probably easy to say what we don't cover for our funding. That will be hardware. So with Dwyer's, you were talking about purchasing cranes, we won't cover that. It's really advice type stuff. If you are buying new computer systems, we don't cover the software as part of our funding, but we do cover training. So we would therefore encourage your suppliers to be creative in how they invoice you for the software and the training. Oh shit, that camera wasn't on when I said that, was it? There's outcomes. I don't know how we're doing for time, but these are some genuine comments that have come from the program. I've put through about 130 businesses in 5.5 years, and I like the one down the bottom, press Enterprise Connect. You'd be mad not to do it. And lastly, like Ashley, I'm based in Bunbury. We do have others based in Perth. But if you want to work with me and you do want to apply to the program, there's a little bit on the application form to name a business advisor. If you want to talk about this, more than happy to do it. There's my mobile, and we've got stuff over there, business cards. And